God! One of the pinaka-awkward moments na naalala ko, Cambodia! Di ba sa Cambodia kasi, sobrang alikabok.
Oo.
Di ba? Sobrang hilig ko mag-sandals. So, ang dumi-dumi na ng mga paa namin. So, sabi namin, before tayo umalis, magpaspa tayo. Palinis tayo ng kuko kasi kadiri na tayo. Nasa pedi part na ako. Meron siyang joke na sobrang nakakatawa. Nasipa ako sa mukha yung
Hey everyone! I'm Vince.
I'm Yosh.
And I'm Ses. Welcome to Travel
TMI! The show where oversharing is caring.
Because when it comes to travel, you can never have too
Much information.
Pero, bakit nga ba Travel TMI?
So, Vince and I, we've been travel bloggers for the past 10 years. So, if alam niyo yung The Poor Traveler blog, we've been writing very comprehensive travel guides. Things that you need to know if you want to explore a certain destination hassle-free.
Yes.
But of course, some experiences don't make it on the vlog. So, in this series, we're gonna share with you the embarrassing parts and the hilarious side of travel. Those that we don't normally talk about, but we're sharing with you in this series anyway. Because hindi kami maka-travel ngayon and the only way that we can kill time is to talk about whatever that comes to mind.
Pampagod vibes, di ba?
True.
Oo. Tsaka lalo na sa inyo guys, no? Kasi dati, nung pwede pa mag-travel, a long time ago, hindi naman kayo napipirmi, di ba? I mean, halos every month, jump-pack yung schedule nyo, di ba? So, wala talagang time like this na pwede nyong umupo, reminisce, pag-usapan, record it, wala.
And it's also a great way to catch up with our friends like you, Ses.
Yes.
Di ba?
Tagal ko namin kayo di nakakita, di nakausap. We missed you a lot.
Oh.
I miss you guys also. Kasi ang tagal na rin natin hindi nakapag-travel together, no?
Oo. In this episode, we're gonna talk about that awkward moment.
Ay, naku.
For sure, di ba?
Oh.
As travelers, we've been in situations that we feel uncomfortable. Anyway, going back to your pedi story, nung nasipa mo siya, gaano pa katagal yung session?
Ay, hindi pa tapos. Isang paa pa lang. So, alam mo yun, it's not like, I'm sorry, tapos pwede ka nang lamunin ng lupa. Hindi pwede. Like, literally, tipa sa mukha na parang, oh, shit. Di ba? Siyempre, magsasorry ako. Automatic sa akin, nag-sorry ako. Pero feeling ko hindi sapat yung sorry. Parang no amount of sorry yung pwede kong sabihin to make up for it. Pero siya parang
Isa sa pinaka-awkward na travel moments na naranasan ko, yun yung trip natin, Ses, when we were invited to a remote island in the south. Meron kaming project na about environment, so we participate in coastal cleanups, ganyan. And sometimes we would get invited by tourism offices to help them.
wala daw tayong kailangang alalahanin about, di ba, booking room, di ba, wag na daw? Wag na daw isipin. So, ang kinailangan natin sumakay ng isang boat, tapos sa boat, merong sumalubong na sa atin. Tapos sabi, baka, kamusta biyahe nyo? Baka pagod na kayo. Kain muna tayo.
May handa sa bahay.
So, parang ni-imagine namin yung ES, naghanda pa sila sa bahay. I mean, kasi parang di ba isipin mo, hindi, dali na lang tayo sa karinderya, restaurant, whatever, tapos doon na tayo kumain. Pagdating namin sa bahay, 2-story yung bahay eh. Tapos makikita mo talaga na merong mga taong in and out. Parang, ay, hindi event. Parang ganon. Parang ganon yung eksena, build up. So, pag akyat namin ng stairs, so, step, Oo, may lighting pa, dilaw. Yellow lighting, ganyan. Oo, parang
Oh my God.
sabi namin, Chok! Anong event to? Ganyan. So, pag landing namin sa second floor, pag tingin namin diretso, may dining table, may mga taong kumakain. Oo, may lechon nga.
May lechon. Yun talaga yung una ko nakita.
Meron. Tapos, pag tingin namin ngayon, pag baling ng mukha namin papuntang left side, ayun na yung tumambad sa amin, Vince. Hulaan mo kung ano. Vince, lamay.
Oh my God.
As in, kabaong yung nakita namin.
Ala.
May patay sila sa pamilya.
Ay.
Noong panahon na yun, kinumbay na lang niya yung pag-entertain sa amin and yung pag-asikaso ng lamay. So, inisip namin, sisilipin ba namin to pay our respect or kakain lang kami?
At siya, tinatanong tayo nung ibang bisita, di ba? Like, kaano-ano tayo? Kilala ba natin yung namatay?
Oo.
Hindi natin kilala yung namatay, sis.
Oo. Hindi.
Oh, sobrang awkward.
Hindi.
Yun. Pero syempre, thankful tayo nun.
Very hospitable yung host namin, yung buong family niya. And even sa ganong klaseng situation, talagang intindi pa rin tayo. Iniintindi, no?
Oo, very Pinoy pa rin.
Nasikaso. Siguro unfortunate timing lang din.
Pero kumain pa rin ako ng lechon.
Correct. Oo,
Kumain pa rin tayo. Ang dami pa rin nating nakain, di ba? Kebs na kung may patay and hindi natin kakilala yung...
Oo nga.
Iba-iba kasi ng traditionally sa kanila pag may namatay parang sineselebrate nila yung life nung namatay.
Oo.
Sa amin, sa probinsya din, sa Pampanga, nagpapakain talaga kami. Pasopas, may pamerienda, may parang gathering talaga.
Oo.
May mga sugal-sugal,
Oo.
may bingo,
May inuman.
inuman, ganyan. Actually, it's a very parang enlightening din na situation. Pero it was awkward at
Oo.
first kasi lamay yun eh,
Totoo
na
naman.
hindi natin kakilala. If you notice, Ses has been calling me ES a lot. Bakit ba?
Ay,
Bakit
oo
may ES?
sabi mo pa naman sa intro, hi, I'm Yosh. Pero wala, ES
Sino si
talaga
ES?
tawag ko sa'yo eh. Since college.
Oo.
Ever since college naman kasi yun na talaga yung tawag ko sa'yo. ES. Hindi ko matanggal.
I go by many names.
Mm-mm.
When I travel abroad, I introduce myself differently then. So my friends call me differently, ganyan. Blah, blah, blah. Speaking of names, one of my most awkward moments happened in Istanbul. We were invited to speak at an international event. And before the actual event, like the night before, there was a dinner. And you know how these are, di ba? Usually, pinapag-mix nila sa table yung iba-iba yung background.
Table, oo.
So, sa
Oo.
table namin, may government official, may diplomats, tapos I was seated next to a Slovenian diplomat. So, I introduced myself as Yoshke. Because in the blogging world,
Okay.
my name is Yoshke. And then I showed her my ID. She was like, interesting. The whole night, we were talking. We had a great night. We had great conversations. A few days later, I received an email from one of my readers asking for tips. And then, towards the end, sabi niya, by the way, I'm from Slovenia. And in Slovenian language, Yoshke means boobs.
Oh!
So
Oh
that
my
explains that explains bakit ganun yung reaction ng Slovenian diplomat na katabi ko
Oo.
when I introduce myself as Yoshke. Kasi imagine introducing yourself as boobs. Like, hi, I'm
Correct,
boobs.
breast.
So yun, so
Oo
hindi siya
nga.
awkward at that moment kasi, di ba, ignorance is bliss eh.
Hindi
Hindi siya
nga,
awkward
oo.
sa akin.
Oo.
Pero I could tell that it was awkward probably for her. Talking to someone whose name was
Oo.
Boobs. And
Correct.
ano pa siya?
Baka na-imagine na yung mata mo na parang boo.
3 years later, we were able to visit Slovenia. And
Okay.
um,
O paano pangalan mo?
I introduced myself as Yosh lang, Yosh. Pero I was very conscious about it. I was like, Vince, do not ever call me Yoshike here.
Imagine mo, kunyari, nawala kayo ni Vince sa crowd, no? Nawala kayo sa crowd, tapos Lavinia, Yoshike!
Papatay na ako nung kakilala ko pag kinuwento ko. Nasa loob ng bus, yung isang kamag-anak, nagpapahinto siya sa restaurant.
Okay.
Nagpahinto sa restaurant.
Parang medyo ano ko na, okay.
Pag akyat nila, iba na yung suot na shorts. Iba na yung suot na pang-ibaba.
Okay.
So parang akala niya abot pa daw siya sa may makakaupo pa siya, alam mo na, sa trono. Hindi na pala siya umabot. Oo. Sakto daw kasi sis pag as in pagbukas daw ng door.
Bumulaga na.
Lumabas na.
Bago pa siya makaupo, bumulaga na. Oo.
At siya buti may kasama kasi paano ka lalabas nun, di ba? Para bumili ng damit.
Oo.
Kung wala.
Parang minsan ayoko matawa kapag mga ganyan stories. Kasi parang it happens to me also eh. Ako yung type ng person na pag naramdaman ko na, kailangan pumunta na ako agad. Kasi mabilis ang pangyayari. Hindi siya yung parang kaya pa hanggang kanto, mag-drive kami doon. Hindi. Talagang pag na-feel ko, talagang kailangan now na.
You live in the moment.
It lives. Siya. May isa pang concern dyan. Kasi unlike number 1, number 2 kasi has a smell. So hindi mo alam. Ngayon kung parang paano mo siya itatagong malaking sekreto mo. Kasi yung...
Too much information, guys. Sorry.
Oh, too much na. Titigilan ko na yung sarili ko eh. I remember one situation in Singapore, nung mga panahon na sobra tayong budget traveler. Sakto-sakto lang for the trip, kulang pa mag-uutangan pa tayo. So, sobrang tipid namin, nakikitira lang kami ng time na yon. So, sabi namin, hindi tayo pwedeng mag-train from where we were. Basta, in short, parang wala na kaming choice. Mapapamahal na kami, kailangan na namin mag-taxi. So, pumila kami sa taxi stand, very organized. Tinitingnan namin lahat ng taxi nasa linya. Okay? So, ang mga taxi sa Singapore sobrang gaganda, di ba? Pero may mas pinakamagaganda pang taxi sa Singapore, ang tawag sa kanila parang premium taxi. So, mas mahal sila per kilometer, mas mahal yung flag down rate nila. So, in short, nasa pila kami ni ES, tapos pagbilang namin ng taong nasa line and taxis na nasa line, na-analyze ko na ES, mapupunta tayo sa mahal na taxi. Tapos,
na hindi natin afford.
ES, mapupunta tayo sa mahal na taxi, paano yan? Tapos, si ES, saka si Asta, hindi ako tinitingnan. Nakatingin sila sa cellphone nila. Sabi nila, hayaan mo na sis. Hindi, ES, gusto mo, sabihin ko yung kasunod natin, mauna na sila. As in, ganon. Hindi nila ako pinapansin. Like, nakaganon sila sa cellphone nila. Tapos, hindi rin sila nagtitingin ng dalawa. Parang, hindi, okay lang yan. May cash pa ako dito. Pero sobra akong kinakabahan. Kasi ano pa lang yun marami pa kaming araw sa trip na yun. So, sabi ko, ini-insist ko, hindi yan. Ako magsasabi, sila na yung mauna. Sabi sa akin, yes, test, mamili ka. Mukha o pera? Para mamili ka kung mawalan ka ng mukha o mawalan ka ng pera. We ended up, mawalan na lang ng pera. Kesa mukha. At nakatikim kami ng premium taxi sa Singapore for the first time.
At least, di ba, sis, na-experience mo na si ES na parang nahihiya. Hindi mo undecide kasi nahihiya.
I think for me, the most powerful emotion, yung pinaka naaapektuhan ako is shame. Yung parang like, shit, nakakahiya. Parang gano'n. Ayoko gano'n.
Oo. Yan, ganyan, Vince. Yan, yung kung paano niya sabihin, hindi, huwag na.
Hindi, okay lang
Okay
yan.
na yan.
Parang okay lang kahit na maano ako, kung ano man yung kailangan pagdaanan, mawalan ako ng pera, basta wag lang akong mapahiya,
Oo.
parang ganon.
Kasi alam mo, Vince, kung ako tinanong niya, mamili ka mukha o pera, mawala ng mukha o pera, pipiliin ko mawala ng mukha. Oo, kasi para itong mga awkward moments na to, kahit magkamali ka, hindi ka naman nila ulit makikita. Very low chance. Yeah,
At
so,
kung
okay
makikita
lang
mo
na
sila uli, hindi ka
mawala
na
ng mukha.
matatandaan. Di ba?
Nag-improve na ako ngayon. Pero ganun pa rin, malakas pa rin yung sense of shame ko. Even up to now, pero hindi na siguro kasing tindi ng dati. Kasi dati takot akong pumasok sa restaurant kapag walang menu na naka-display kasi takot ako na, baka hindi ko afford. You know, one of the things that I learned when I was backpacking solo, because you didn't have to rely on anyone else, yun, na somehow nalulunok mo na yun.
Ang programang ito ay rated SPG.
Oo.
Pride! I was talking about pride. Yun, nalulunok mo na.
Oo.
Na parang, don't think too much about it. If you do something embarrassing, it's okay. They're not gonna see you again anyway.
They're not gonna see you. They're not probably even thinking of you, diba? Parang baka nga hindi nila napansin.
They don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Pero sometimes they do. I was, may isang incident. When I was in Laos, when I was in Laos, in Luang Prabang, there are a lot of alfresco type restaurants along the river. Tapos I was alone. And I was the only Asian guy. Alam mo naman, di ba, tayo, rice is life kasi, di ba? I was about to order. So, dumapit na yung waitress sa akin. And I was gonna say what my order was. Sa isang table, barkada sila. One of the guys said out loud, "Listen, he's gonna order rice." Rice talaga yung ordering ko, ma'am. Rice talaga eh. Napasalad na lang ako. Kasi parang ano ako, napasalad ako. Na parang, in retrospect, I shouldn't have let those comments affect my decision at the time. Because that's what I was gonna order. I was gonna order rice. I wanted rice. I was craving rice. So, I should have ordered rice. I shouldn't have let them affect me. Pero that time, I so wanted to prove them wrong. And it was so awkward. Kasi he said it in a very loud voice. I love rice. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Pero at the same time, my food shouldn't be an issue. Especially if you're not paying for it. Diba? No one should be putting me on the spot for something as trivial as my order. It's time now for GBB. The good, the bad, the badass. So yan, so the good thing about having awkward moments like this, you learn, sabi nga ni Ate Alanis Morissette, as a person and as a traveler, we grow because of these instances. Kasi we learn.
What about the bad?
The bad, it's the feeling at the moment. Diba? Parang,
That very moment, no?
Lalo if mapuput ka on the spot, ayaw mo ng ganung feeling eh. Sama sa pakiramdam.
and sometimes, you know what's worse about it is these feelings. Ano to palaman? These feelings, they linger. They linger. And sometimes they overpower yung mga good memories. And the badass,
I think for me, yung pinaka-badass is when you've gone through all the emotions of feeling that shame, that embarrassment. The badass is when you get to a point na you can already laugh at yourself.
yeah.
Na pwede mo na siyang balikan, tapos matatawa ka na lang, part na siya ng mga memories mo na cringe! You still cringe, pero funny na siya.
Share-worthy na siya. Kahit na TMI na siya. Before we end, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
By clicking the subscribe button and hitting the bell icon for instant notification para sa aming mga future uploads.
So this has been Travel TMI.
I'm Vince.
I'm Yosh.
And I'm Seth.
See you again next time and may the ghosts be with you. Bye-bye!
Bye!